Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a GPz Mk VI. It's the Tier 2 German SPG. It's located on the north spawn of Mainz, and this one is under the command of Tanker 333-1.
Your assistance has been requested.
And he's been invited to platoon by a BT2. Okay, game started. And the person who invited him to platoon has already hit him with a round right at the start of the game. Well, it wasn't very nice. Well, this little Arty is armed with a 105mm gun, the light field howitzer. It's capable of doing 410 alpha, but it has got rather a long reload. Those machine guns are very, very loud, aren't they? 410 alpha, penetrating 27mm of armour. It's got a book reload of 25.89 seconds, but it appears that Tankers managed to get them down to just under that, 25.31. Now, you don't see many people playing this Arty anymore, and the reason is that Wargaming put them in the Collectors tab, so you don't have to play them if you're going to go up the Arty line. You can start at Tier 5. But this is a fun Arty to play because of what it can do. Look at that T2 medium there. Yep, he's out the game. He's back in the garage, scratching his head saying, what the hell happened? It's a very accurate Arty. It's very, very deadly, but, and the big problem is that long reload. And of course it's got a very narrow gun arc. Very, very narrow indeed. Which means that if you move the vehicle even slightly, your reticule blooms massively, and it makes it very, very difficult to aim. You have to wait forever to let the thing dial in on target. You can see here he's trying to get around into the rear of that FCM-36. Oh, he got a fire! Sorry, it sounds like a Rolodex. I still haven't fixed that sound fault. But he managed to get a good fire out of that FCM, but he's lost sight of him now, so he can't fire at him anymore. I say that sound pack really works. The machine guns sound so realistic. And he's loaded again, ready to go. Well, there is an M2 light in the castle grounds, but he's moving about too rapidly for Tanker 333 to get a shot on him. There are the tanks that he could hit, though. Only the one kill so far. His team's 2 tanks down on the enemy. 3 tanks down now. It's interesting, this sound pack actually makes the Panzer IIs with their cannons sound like cannons, whilst the tanks that actually have machine guns sound like machine guns. They really do. Well, that's a direct hit. 162 hit points. Now, the burst radius of this Arty is only 1.91 meters. It's basically very similar to the same Arty you'll actually find on the Fifi, which is also a 105 light field howitzer. But that one's slightly different. Oh, he just killed the Panzer II. He didn't even need to look. He dialed in already, fired, and that guy was dead. But he's having to retreat now because that M2 light that was last seen in the castle grounds is actually making his way round towards our cap. And, well, there's only a 70p on the plateau above the cap to fend him off, plus an M2 light and a Panzer II. So you can see Tanker 333's decided to retreat over to the water. Now, you might be interested in how this little Arty came about and how it was designed. It was actually built out of the GPz Mk VI tank, and, well, we lost a lot of those in France between 1939 and, well, when the Germans invaded in 1940. And 6 of them were converted into this particular artillery, which was actually known as the 1.5 cm Selbstfahrerfährte auf Geschützpanzer Mk VI. Which is basically a Mk VI light tank with an artillery piece on it. the same actual tank is in the game. The GPz Mk VI is a tier 2 British premium light tank with a machine gun, the 15mm machine gun. So you can actually play that tank, but it's very difficult to get hold of those little light tanks now because, well, Wargaming took them out of the gift shop. They're no longer available, and they were only available rarely, and they were normally given away as some extra offer. So you got this little tank and something else when you were buying a package. It wasn't a very effective tank because the machine gun rounds didn't really penetrate that much, but it was very, very annoying to tier 1 and tier 2 tanks whenever you saw it. Now this Arty is very difficult to play, but it just takes a little while to get used to it. And one of the other drawbacks is that when Wargaming reworked the equipment, they actually took out the slots, which meant that you had a choice. You can either have a first aid kit, a repair kit, or a fire extinguisher. And I think most people decided they weren't going to have a fire extinguisher, and it's just then a choice between having a first aid kit and a repair kit. I prefer the first aid kit because at least that means you can restore a crew member if they are incapacitated. Whereas a repair kit, well, the vehicle will repair itself eventually, but it won't be properly fixed. In fact, I don't understand why they actually took those slots out, because it seems much better if you do have those slots to be able to fix more than one thing. Well, we've lost the M2 Lite. We've got a TKS 20, which is the Polish premium tier 2 nearby, and he's got a cannon. I don't think we really want to be seen by him. Oh, we have been seen. Now, was it him? Somebody saw us. And I think it might be that M2 Lite or the TKS. There's a BT2 headed close in, and it looks like we're going to have to shotgun him. Oh, fantastic. And that was 20% of the enemy hit pool, which means potentially Tanker 333 has now earned a high caliber. Now, only 6 of this particular Arty were actually built. The Germans took the captured Mark VI, which they called Beutepanzer, and they took these Beutepanzer or Beutewaffen, and they then converted them into their own use. In fact, I found out today... Oh, another kill! Right up the rear of that M2 Lite. I found out today that apparently the Germans loved Soviet Arty, because it was much longer range Arty than their own, and consequently whenever they could capture a Soviet Arty they would, and apparently they even manufactured ammunition for Soviet Arty for the ones that they captured. So instead of having to rely on captured supplies, they actually had German made Soviet artillery shells which they would then use in the Beutewaffen, that the artillery pieces they captured. Well, Tanker can't get a shot on that TKS from this angle because the rock face is in the way, so he's moved a little bit closer, and now he has got an angle, so he just needs to dial in on the TKS. He's moving about a lot though. He's trying to tempt the 7TP to come down. The 7TP's got a cannon. So I wonder if he can get the shot on. Tanker mark the target. Oh! Didn't time that one well. And the TKS knows he's here now. Now, will he turn around and come this way? I'm not so sure. Oh, there's an FCM 36. In fact, actually, they're both going up, but the FCM dies. And it looks like the TKS has run out of shells because he's in reload. And before he can shoot, 7TP takes him out and takes out the M2 Lite. So there's now 2 Panzers left, or 2 tanks left on both teams. Very well done. That 7TP was very effective. He's ended up with 4 kills. In fact, actually, Tanker 333 has offered to platoon. Okay, so the enemy is an Su-18 and a Panzer II, Panzer II. Now, the problem is that this tank is not very good at maneuvering on enemy vehicles. It's fairly slow compared to that Su-18, which is also fairly slow, but it's much more maneuverable. It's based on the MS-1. Oh no, the 70p just got taken out. The Su-18's got a 76mm regimental gun. In fact, they never got built, the Su-18, but you can imagine it is a very effective Soviet Arty piece, and he just took out that 70p. It's very accurate at close range. We can't see the enemy. We've got a bigger gun than he's got. Okay, we're loaded, ready to go. We just need sight of the enemy. So the Germans manufactured 6 of these out of the Vickers, and they actually sent them off to the Soviet Union to fight in our Operation Barbarossa. But they survived the entire war and came back and were used in Normandy area, and eventually taken out by the British forces or the Americans, we don't know which, but they were destroyed in the Normandy area. And here comes the Su-18. Line it up. Gently, gently. Don't let the reticule bloom. Oh, fantastic shot! Right in the face. That Su-18 took a hell of a hit. That means it's now 1-on-1. And the last remaining enemy is that Panzerkampfwagen aus II. Now, we don't know where he is, but I can probably take a guess that he's back near the enemy cap area. As you can see, it's fairly slow, and the reason this little tank was fairly slow was because it was actually pretty heavy with that 105mm gun. The normal Vickers was actually quite quick, but in the book speed in the game is 50 kilometers an hour, but I don't think you'll see this little thing dashing around the battlefield at 50. You can see the maximum speed they're getting up to at the moment is about, well, 35 miles per hour downhill. Oh, he's got it up to 40. Oh, he's been spotted. Somebody saw him. So he is an active player, and he's firing. And we've been hitting the engine. He's going for cover quickly. Runs into the building, but we know where he is. He's made it very obvious, and Tanker is trying to move back so he can shoot up over the house without the Panzer II being able to respond. Let's just hope he doesn't decide to drive down here and shoot us after we've shot him. That's a direct hit. Now that's got to have hurt a Panzer II. Probably stripped away half his hit points in the process. But it's the long reload. If he doesn't know about the reload of this vehicle, if he did know, he could just dash straight down quickly and kill Tanker 333. But it appears he doesn't know. And he poked his head out. Oh, yes, he's still there. Took two more hits. He's lost quite a lot of hit points. And he's now still receiving shots. The Panzer II can see him. That wins the game and a Top Gun. What a brilliant game there by Tanker 3331. Yep, he's the winner. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. What a fantastic game by Tanker 3331. He managed to get an ace tank in the Geschutzpanzer Mark VI-E. He also managed to get a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 16. He got a Starks medal. He took out at least 2 enemy tanks, suffered a loss of at least 2/3 of his hit points, having received 2 hits, and survived the battle. So it's very rare to get one of those on this particular Arty. He also got a Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills and a high caliber for dealing the most damage in that game. And I think he basically won it almost single-handedly, but not quite. But he got at least 1/3 of the enemy hit pool in the process, 2/5 of their team. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, they're right at the top of the table, 1,910 hit points of damage. The next high scorer was an M2 light tank on the enemy team with 1,342, followed by the 7TP on his own team with 845. He did a fantastic job, but he did get killed by the Arty. When it came to kills, it was definitely Tanker 3331. He managed to get 6 kills, 5 kills went to the M2 light tank on the enemy team, 4 kills went to the 7TP, and then 3 kills to another light tank on the enemy team. When it came to base XP, it's definitely Tanker 333-1 who managed to get the highest with 820. 525 went to the 7TP and 515 went to the M2 light tank on the enemy team. He fired 12 rounds in that game, got 10 direct hits and 2 penetrations on the enemy. 8 splash as well. Damage of 1,910 hit points, of which 1,164 were at more than 300 meters. So you can see that a lot of the damage, nearly close to 750 hit points, was actually done at close range. 17 hits received from the enemy, 9 penetrations, 8 non-penetrations, and virtually all of that, well, all of it did come from the Panzer II. And yes, he was getting some shots right at the end, just before he was taken out. He was managing to shoot over the house into the gun shield on the Arty, which is fairly weak actually. It's only armour of 14 millimeters, so the cannon shells on the Panzer II were easily able to penetrate that. He blocked damage of 88 hit points, spotted 1 enemy vehicle, damaged 8 of the enemy, killed 6. And on a free-to-play account, he earned 22,171 credits. And after repair, ammunition, respawn, and consumables, took away 18,885 credits profit. Got 820 base XP, and there was no multiplier, so that's all the experience points he took away. But it was an amazing battle, and we have seen some amazing battles in the Geschotzpanzer Mark VI-E. It's quite unusual actually, but there's somebody actually did manage to get a collar ban off in this vehicle on the Mittengard map. I don't know if you remember that, it was quite a few years ago, but yes, there is a collar ban off in the Geschotzpanzer, so worth checking that one out because it was amazing. I think I've even got a video of me in one of these tearing the enemy to shreds. They're actually quite good fun, but they're very difficult to play. So very well done to Tanker 3331 because he had the patience to let it dial in on the enemy so he could get very accurate shots. And that 105mm on a tier 2 or tier 1 tank is totally deadly because it'll literally rip straight through them if it hits them, as you saw in this game. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment down below because it really does help. It does get the videos noticed. The algorithm shares the video out to other people who like World of Tanks. And hopefully they'll pop in and see what you can do with your tanks and leave a comment as well. Thanks for watching.